started the real collection, one of the things I wanted to do was add different things that really were important to the recording industry in the collection. So it wasn't just a bunch of tape recorders sitting on shelves. It was really something about the industry. So we started collecting all kinds of things, from signs and ads. We collected most of the manuals on a lot of the recorders. We also started collecting awards and things of that type that became available to us. It's made it a lot more interesting to have those things around the recorders. We also added the recording lights. Stevie Ray Vaughan in our library. I mentioned that my wife had had this trumpet restored for me as a gift. It is a beautiful trumpet. There's an interesting aside here that this is made by Concertone. I wanted to have some musical instruments in the collection, and I came across a Concertone and I thought, wow, did American Concertone also make musical instruments? So I started collecting some of them. Got a trombone, saxophone, some other things. Finally looked into it a little bit more, and Concertone is actually an old Czechoslovakian company that made these great horns. This is a beautiful old Concertone accordion that's in the collection. It sits with a Motown mug. The guitar is not a Concertone. This is our vintage catalog collection, and it basically starts back here from the 1930s and moves forward. Here's one from 1936. We also have here a collection of the modern recording magazines. We have Stereo Review, we have DB Magazine, we have some sound engineering magazines. Allied, Radio Shack, Lafayette, all the different ones. We also have extensive manuals, both instructional and maintenance, in the collection. addition to the ads that are displayed in the museum itself, we have hundreds of ads online divided up by year in the catalog and ads section. Another one of the cool items, I believe, in our collection is the painting of Nipper with a gramophone, which we purchased from Harrods in London. There's a more detailed history about this on our website, but basically Francis Brand painted the painting in around 1898-99, and at that time it was a painting of a cylinder player with Nipper the dog. He later made contact with the Gramophone company, who requested that he repaint the painting and include their new gramophone or record in the painting. It's noted in this summary that Nipper made his first appearance on the Gramophone company's advertising literature on the record supplement for January 1900. Tokyo Electro-Acoustic Company, 25 years of Teac. One of the interesting things here is that picture of one of their very early recorders, the TD-102. That unit also became the Teac 505 and the Concertone 505. As part of the accessories section, I want to move on to the actual things that some of the companies provided with the recorders. This is what came with the TC600 Sony. In addition to the instruction manual, there were recording tapes, empty reels. This is the Ampex 805 tape splicer. The unit comes with a reel of tape splicing tape in the back piece here. So you bring the tape in on each side, and these retainers hold the tape on each side. And then you can cut the tape using that razor blade right there. Bring it down and cut the tape. And then you bring out the tape in the middle, cover the tape, and then this slides up the trim, which brings into play these razor blades. Also, here is the Akai Splicer. This is a Gibson girl splicer. This is who also built the splicer for Ampex. Many of the professional recorders had splicing blocks built on, and an engineer could quickly splice a tape using that block without something like the Gibson girl. We also have a Ampex head demagnetizer in the collection. Small boxes of Ampex leader tape, and this is just basically the white tape that goes on the front of a reel or separates songs on a master tape. And here is some of the white leadering tape on a reel. And we have an Ampex standard alignment tape, which is 7.5 IPS.
The following tone is 10,000 cycles per second, a few decibels below normal recording level, for playback head azimuth adjustment.
We have a lot of original dust covers by various people, including Ampex. We have a belt gauge for dealing with the various belts and seeing how big they are. It works like a slide rule. This is the bulk eraser by Nortronics. This is actually an original. We've had this in our collection for a long time. An alignment tape. This is also made by Nortronics, who puts out replacement heads. We also have quite a supply of tape. A group that put out small pins, and that's for the Teac A3440 and the 80-8. And we have a collection of a variety of things in here, from splicing tape to Robert's cleaning kit, We have an Electro Voice lavalier microphone, an Akai tape splicer, a Robbins needle examiner for a turntable, a Robbins demagnetizing unit. This is actually one we used. Here's another speed checker for tape, and the Concertone tape timer. Back here we actually have a knife award by Ampex. A roll of tape foil. This foil has a sticky back and a small piece of it can be placed on a tape. When the tape crosses the contacts on a recorder such as this Pioneer RT707, it'll cause the recorder to reverse. Here's a piece of the strip on the RT707, and you'll see as the recorder finishes this end of this first side, it'll now auto-reverse. Other machines had a tone injected that accomplished the same thing. I also decided to include in this section accessory units that were made by the manufacturer to support the recorders. So some of these would include noise reduction units or other accessories that would help and augment the recording process. This is the Teac AN180 noise reduction system using Dolby. I have the AX300, very similar to the Ampex MX and AX10. It's a Calrad 15-131 headphone junction box used in the studio to provide mixes to different musicians. We have a mix-down panel by Teac. And we have a Teac sign that actually came from the United Kingdom. Our collection includes quite a few Akai accessories, an actual store sign, and an Akai 10-inch take-up reel. We also have a pair of reel adapters that would actually fit on the Akai 400. These are reel extenders that would go out to the side and be installed on the unit so that you could play 10.5-inch reels. This would be similar to what Bell did with their unit, as these are also reel extenders. Another thing that we've worked to acquire, remote controls. The top control is for the Ampex AX300. The next one's for the Ampex ATR 700, and the bottom one is for the Akai machine. This one's for the Otari MX5050 BQ2. This one manages the Tascam 80-8, Teac 80-8. This unit manages the BR20T. This one manages the Ampex AG440. Ampex AG500.
I need a ward. Ring my bell. And just when I needed you most, Randy Van Warmer.
This is a Tapco 4400, which was used as a spring reverb, and we used this early on. This was the first special effects unit we'd ever had. The unit was kind of neat because you could adjust the reverberation level, and you had equalization control on both channels. Above this is another Model 1 mixer, which is used to send the signals from the various vintage recorders. The mic mixer is built by Shure. This one is actually branded by Sony. Above that is the Altec 1592B mixer and amplifier, seen everywhere in recording studios, theater, radio stations, anywhere where sound reinforcement and high quality is involved. One of the other mixers we have in our collection is the Sony Mx16. This is a great mixer which also supports playback units in the collection. the Bogan MXMA, which is a mixer that we used in Alpine in the late 60s. And above that we have an old RCA mixer, great old knob. And we have the Roberts tape head demagnetizer. A lot of manufacturers supplied a lot of accessories for their tape recording equipment, like the Teac cleaning stick for cleaning heads. Here we have the Sony switcher that allows you to put multiple recorders through this unit and then be able to switch from tape to tape. One of the early things that got me involved in recording was being around radio stations in Alpine. This is a very similar Sparta console, similar to what they were using back then. We've also acquired a lot of the reel-to-reel tapes from that period of time. In this studio we also have the Alicia's ADAT Type 2 available for transfer. We also have at the bottom a Sony DAT recorder. When I started this collection, my wife Chris began wondering if I was collecting tape recorders or suitcases. Here's just a look at some of the suitcases and our collection of lids. And finally, here's a couple of interesting radio tape recorder miniatures.
We spent his house, and my father and myself, except he drove. We got into it. I moved out. I had to get on my...
I only have a couple of turntables in the collection. This is not, of course, a turntable collection. But I could not miss this Gerard Lab 80, which is one we had back in the 60s. Incredibly classic dust cover. Of all things, it happens to have on it 45, which was a webcore demonstration on high fidelity.
For your listening pleasure, Webcore, the most outstanding name and phonographs, invite you to enjoy musical selections taken from the fabulous Decca and Choral record library.